Haunted Oman House. Cults and crime. Initially, a group of people, purportedly adherents of a self-styled religious figure named Charlie, received orders to go to Sharon Tate's home with the malevolent goal of committing several murders. This roving group was given instructions to carefully target each and every home in the area. The narrator's discomfort and the strange settings they find themselves in provide proof of the tense and horrifying atmosphere that surrounds the occurrences. It's becoming more obvious that the situation is getting more serious as people go closer to the well-known location. The investigation that takes place this evening will have an extra layer of difficulty because of the location's historical significance and the excitement surrounding the possibility of exploring its paranormal qualities. The location's historical significance is the source of this complexity. The narrator emphasizes the ongoing mystery surrounding the awful events that occurred on that fatal night in 1969, since he has been preoccupied with the subject matter for a long time. Despite raising questions, the main character is motivated by this attraction. A group of people, including the narrator, Jim, Judith, and others, met on the evening of the inquiry at Sharon Tate's former residence with the goal of looking into the paranormal activity connected to the infamous Manson murders. Sharon Tate's apartment was to be the site of the investigation. Even though Jim's camera seemed to be having some technical issues at the start of the expedition, the crew continued their exploration. The house's owner, David Oman, discussed his own encounters and insights into the persistent, inexplicable occurrences occurring within the residence. He claimed that nothing seems to be happening for a cause. He related a variety of unexplained incidents, such as doors locking and taps turning on by themselves, in addition to reports of ghost sightings and conversations, one of which included a companion's tale of seeing Sharon Tate. He also reported seeing a lot of strange things happen. To illustrate that the home may dispel preconceived beliefs about the paranormal, Oman provided specific examples of experiences that skeptics had that transformed their lives. He also talked about the high electromagnetic field levels that Dr. Barry Taft discovered while there. This was on top of the earlier point. His theory is that situations like this facilitate spirits' communication, which in turn makes it easier for them to interact with each other and manifest. In his second round of discussion and investigation, the group examined old pictures and exchanged anecdotes regarding the past and present of the property. For the rest of the evening, the area's historical significance created an atmosphere that mixed wonder, fear, and curiosity. As they pushed deeper into the maze of puzzles around the mansion, the gang remained open to the potential of coming face to face with the last living ghosts of the past. They were able to look into the property more after this. They were also keen to learn more about the mysterious forces that were at work in Sharon Tate's former residence. A number of strange things happened in the residence while the group was conducting their research. Among these instances were light flashing and feelings of nausea and discomfort, particularly in certain areas of the house. These were all signs that were present. One participant in the activity, Jasmine, even had bodily discomfort and puked during the whole thing. David Oman showed us places that have been linked to paranormal activity, like the bathroom door that closes by itself and the hallway where people have claimed to have felt pushed down. These two locales are instances of the places David Oman mentioned. The crew traversed several rooms and halls during their tour, and David Oman was the one who found these interesting locations. The crew saw several other strange things while doing their investigation, such as flickering lights and even unexpected blackouts whenever they asked any spirits in attendance to dim the lights. Attempts were made to attribute the events to electrical problems, but the frequency and severity of the phenomena seemed to indicate that this was not the case. In spite of these efforts, we keep looking into the incidents. Furthermore, their investigation turned up a room beneath the house they were looking at. This area is thought to have served as an altar at some point in Native American history. David said that a person had mysteriously died at the place in question, even though it was not a Native American burial ground. In general, the group's investigation into the strange forces at work in Sharon Tate's former apartment was replete with unsettling experiences and inexplicable happenings, leaving them with more questions than answers. According to David Oman, a man and his horse had fallen down the mountainside and died in the basement area, with their bodies buried underground. This explanation is the result of their investigation. A variety of artifacts left behind after their abandonment were found by the party. Some of the things they had access to were tobacco, money, cedar, sage, crow feathers, and a bag of other unfamiliar goods. Oman also claimed that they turned the basement into a man cave, complete with a hammock and television. He made a hilarious comparison between the basement and a scary version of Pee-wee's Playhouse when discussing it. As the party made their way down into the basement, they noticed a shift in temperature as well as other odd happenings, such as Jim's camera's screen going blank, which was identical to an earlier incident. An additional aspect that added to the spooky atmosphere was the children's piano that began to play on its own. The basement first seemed peaceful, even with electromagnetic field, EMF, detectors, and other equipment used to communicate with any spirits. However, Victor and Jasmine, who were still on the upper level, claimed to have seen a door open and to have heard footsteps. They were unable to verify whether the incident was captured on camera, though. Victor and Jasmine had not left the upper floor. Finally, the group discovered that they were in the basement, an area with elevated electromagnetic field activity, EMF. Devices began to register oscillations in response to queries and responded with words like logic and object. They asked each other if a story of a guy being dragged to the ceiling was true, as one of their attempts to establish a connection. However, the group was curious but confused about the actual nature of the experience they were experiencing because the reactions were not all obvious. The electromagnetic field EMF detector began to spike and produce alarms as the examination went on, indicating that the group's interactions were becoming more intense as the study went on. The events of the night left them with more questions than answers, which added to the already intense sense of mystery surrounding Sharon Tate's former apartment. They made an attempt to converse and learn about the history of the activity, but ultimately, they were left with more questions than answers. A wide range of distinct encounters and events were noted and documented during the inquiry process at David Oman's residence. The group encountered a variety of unusual happenings as they explored the house's many rooms and sections, including the cellar and the upper floor. Some of the events were lights flickering, doors opening by themselves, unexplained noises, and electromagnetic field activity. They tried communicating with each other in the basement using a variety of tools, including a spirit box and electromagnetic field EMF detectors. They received answers pointing to the presence of a Jack named Spirit and the potential identity of Winifred Chapman, a former maid. Both of these options were validated by the investigations. The group also reported hearing tapping noises and experiencing shakes and dizziness. They too claimed to have heard those noises. It appeared as though the action followed them around the home as they moved. Without any assistance, lights would switch on and off and electromagnetic field detectors would answer their inquiries. Jim once felt a tap on his shoulder, and even in the isolated areas, the gang could hear loud crashes and footsteps. Even if they were in certain places, this still happened. This continued to happen even when they were in specific places. Despite the intense experiences they had, the crew never wavered in their pursuit of a more thorough investigation, gathering evidence by using audio and video recording equipment. In spite of this, they ultimately came to the conclusion that the investigation had to terminate due to the substantial benefits it had provided for their health. In addition to being interested in the investigation's conclusions, the group was relieved to be away from David Oman's stuffy home. Persuasive evidence and first-hand accounts were included throughout the research. Would you consider it enjoyable? For more videos, hit the like button and subscribe to our channels.